Wow, Chris is talking mad smack right now.
I know.
It's all right.
Is that Rachel? Is she going to talk about Frieren in place of you because she probably watched it to the end?
He looked straight down when he was saying when he mentioned like, I only watched up to episode 10. I was like, look down at your phone in despair, Chris.
You know what? he might have watched it only to 10, but I'm absolutely sure that he finished Undead Unluck from the last Season like he said he was going to.
We'll take a vote on it.
Chris doesn't lie.
Chris, friends don't lie, Chris.
Exactly.
I'm not lying because I am going to finish it eventually. When do you think I had the time to do all this when I'm supposed to watch all these other 8 shows?
When we ended up adding a whole extra month.
Well, if I could even watch these 8, I don't think it was plausible for me to even do it. I'm going to though. Listen, I'm still trying to finish freaking Shangri-La.
You haven't finished that? Damn.
No.
That wasn't even... We're going to have to scale back here.
Yeah.
Scale it back.
Top 6.
I don't know. Maybe just top 3.
I mean, that'd be nice.
I think if we did a top 6, that would work. TBH.
Hey, I'm back, everyone. I was on a vacation, and they recorded without me for a mini episode.
Rehab.
I was in college. I graduated, and I'm back now. So welcome back to another episode of the podcast. As always, I'm Chris, joined with Cy and John, and we make anime.
Your anime dreams come true.
Welcome back, everybody. It's been some time, of course, since we've talked about our main seasons watches that we've been grinding through. Chris had a little vacation, and if you haven't checked it out already, our mini episode of the Spy Family Code White movie.
Without me,
check it out.
From what I've been seeing from many of the comments and our highest liked video to date, they were like the duo of the century, best anime review so far. Really crazy. Don't know really what did it, but
I'm proud of you guys. Congratulations.
Yeah, John printed it out, the comments, and he put it on the refrigerator. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It's a monumental achievement.
But yes, we're back with the 3 of us, the big 3, with Chris, who we missed very much, despite his upsetness with us, with our secret
I was never
sub-podcast.
I was never upset about that.
He didn't talk to us for a week.
He did tell us that he's like, I'll be back on Thursday. And really, he was back on Wednesday and didn't tell us. And then we found out because he was in Discord. And I was like, I thought you're coming home tomorrow. You're like, I never said that. I was like, your text literally says, I'll be home Thursday.
My PTO ended Thursday. I was still on vacation.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Doesn't matter where I am. I'm on vacation.
True.
Well, you're back to work. And, most of us put in and got to the deadline. But we're here to wrap up the winter season. Happenstance. What's it? Once is an accident, twice is a surprise, 3 times
is an accident.
And yeah. But we're here. We're wrapping up the winter season. We went a little over, like Chris said, but we are here. We've got some thoughts. We made some slight modifications in the watching order, but I think it was all for the better, and it was a good season. Once we did that, it was a lot easier, way more enjoyable for my end.
I mean, you did watch your 2 swaps all the way through and then put them on the list. So
wait, which one was the one you swapped out again?
So to remind everybody about our picks, for the winter, the 8 we landed on, Cy had picked Delicious and Dungeon, and Love, Affection and Love. What was the name of it? Sign of Affection. Chris had picked The Witch and the Beast.
And Bucchigiri.
And Bucchigiri. And I had picked seventh time loop and Ishura. And the community picked Solo Leveling and Cherry Magic. And you know what? They were all good except the ones I picked, which just were, I would say one was awful. Awful. Ishura was the hardest thing to watch. Pacing made no sense. Story was all over the place.
I had high hopes as well.
Yeah. Well, the first episode was so good, but then we never see those characters again until like the very end, and you're introduced. Every episode is pretty much starting over again, giving you all new characters who I don't care about. I don't see the connection. It's not as entertaining.
Well, I did see what they were doing because they were introducing the I don't even know what they were.
All of them, but you can do that in like the first 3 episodes, get them all out of the way, and then give me the actual story. But every single episode was, let's start over again. And then by the time you get to the actual story, it's like, all right, that's over. What did we achieve? What did we watch? Nothing.
I did not like how they set it up. It was just really weird. Felt like I was watching episode 1 after episode 1 after episode 1. So glad we didn't switch that out.
Yes, so that was very painful to watch. And then to follow that, 7th time loop wasn't bad, but it was just very kind of slow, and I would put it on and it would just be like in the back, and I was just like, I'm not interested in this anymore as much as I was in the beginning. And I just feel like it was just a very slow pacing. The story kept progressing, but it was just like, what's gonna happen?
The first episode was super impactful because they were explaining like everything that happens to her.
And I know it's still hit pretty high on my anime list ratings. I'll pull that up in a second. But yes, I made the decision to substitute those 2 out, give up my 2 picks, and sub them in for quite the glorious replacements.
Yeah.
I will say it's a complete 180.
I would say so. Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up deciding to substitute them with 2 that are kind of technicalities on being a part of the winter season. They started in the fall. Somehow we did not watch them. We didn't watch them, but they were back-to-back double season extensions, so 24 episodes for each one. And those were Dangers in My Heart, which is, surprisingly, I found out, another production of the same studio that did My Level Story with Yamada, Level 999.
My Love Story.
And then Frieren, Journeys Beyond End, which was awesome. I watched that. I watched both of them, all 24. Sai watched them to the midway 13. Point in the first season for that. And, Chris, did you watch all of Dangers in My Heart?
I did watch all of that.
Okay, and
I'm
then
shocked that you watched all of it.
Spent all night watching it and most of today.
Chris watched like 3 full animes in like the past couple days. He's had 6 coffees. He's just wired right now.
The 7th time loop finished at a 7.51, and from our list came in right in the halfway point at the 5th of R8, like most watched.
Interesting.
Not terrible.
I think it's also just pacing. I feel like there's definitely going to be a good enough like crowd to that, like it would enjoy the story still. Yes. I would want to take it a little bit slower, through each episode.
There's always going to be something for someone out there,
which is why we love anime.
Yep.
Yes, but that one something is Frieren's A Journey Beyond End, which was amazing, and I think it's if it doesn't win, I'm surprised it didn't win anything for the Anime Awards that passed. I think it was nominated for one or two things. I can't remember exactly from the top of my head, but it definitely was in the I think for like best like news story or something it was in.
Well, did you ever think maybe it's not as good as you hold it up to be?
I think that Jujutsu Kaisen was overplayed in so many of those things, and it just shows how the judging and the actual voting system for it, like what was actually selected as options, should have been way more capped. Jujutsu Kaisen shouldn't have taken 80% of the thing and been across like so many of the categories. It just feels like it was just not very well balanced or thought out. But we weren't judges, so
yeah, agreed. But as we can see here, John is bringing up a new bracket for us to be able to use here. You know how much we love using brackets.
Yeah, I brought up bracket fights and put them all together today for the Winter 2024 Anime Showdown bracket fight. And, as we kind of learned last time through this growing evolution part, we've got in the first seed to the lowest seed, Frieren against Bucchigiri, and then followed up in our second round, Dangers in My Heart versus The Witch and the Beast. Then we've got Solo Leveling, which was the third top one compared to Frieren and Dangers in My Heart. Dangers in My Heart beat out Solo Leveling.
That's fucking crazy.
If you go to my anime list on it, Dangers in My Heart Season 2 is listed at number 1 on the site at still have it up, at an 8.88, beating out Solo Leveling at an 8.32.
It's kind of shocking.
Crazy. And that when we started it, Solo Leveling was marked as the number 1 show pick this season. How the community changed.
It was going to be the home run.
Yeah. But yeah, we got Solo Leveling versus Cherry Magic, and then what is it?
A Sign of Affection versus Delicious in Dungeon.
Exactly. Which was size 2 picks right there. So I mean, that's
literally against each other. I'm like, okay, great.
Yes. But yeah. So I mean, I guess without further ado, should we just jump into the bracket? Is there any last, thoughts, any overall themes that you want to get out there, right get out of the way? Chris is firing off the...
Let's jump into it.
That's his jazz hands.
Yeah. Well, right now it's my pick versus Chris's pick. So I guess, Chris, I'll let you go first. I don't know if you want to let everybody know what your pick was. Defend your original pick.
So, let me just preface that this was the first of the 8 that I really watched through, so it's been a while. But essentially, Bucchigiri is about high school students, and their high school has these fighting clubs, and they go against other clubs and fight each other. Really, I honestly don't know what that's about. That was confusing to me.
Or gangs, I would think.
Yeah, gangs, but they're in the school. Like, I don't understand.
There's like one teacher that shows up throughout it, and it's so funny.
Which had a very odd background story for him the whole time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him too. But there's also these like ancient fighting spirits that one of them bonds with our main character. I forget his name. And the main character is now able to use super strength like this. They call them honky people. And I always found that really weird. I wish they had a different name for the honky people. But that's it. They fight. The spirits transfer to different people. I didn't watch it all the way through. Yeah, they're like genies.
They are genies, and the honky people is what they strive to be. So the genies are not
honky people.
the main
No,
character becomes one at the end.
Yes, he finally achieves becoming honky, which the other two genies did not, which I was just kind of confused by the whole kind of like geographical placing of all confusing.
This. Because that's like you're in like...
I thought it was like
ancient
Japan
Egypt prior to it.
Or China, but then we're getting like flashbacks to the Middle East where they were pretty much from and everything, which I was like, well, how did their temple end up here? It was just very, very confusing.
Great fighting in it, though. I did like the art style of this because like it's just very fluid, very good, very colorful, vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely enjoyable to watch.
I agree. It was Studio Mappa that animated this, so praise there. Overall, the show is pretty good. The story is where it lacks, I think.
Yeah,
it wasn't that interesting, but it was pretty funny. I think I laughed watching this the most out of all the other ones.
Bucchigiri! Yeah, I feel like it was pretty much like a gag story almost until you get to the like last 3 episodes, and that's where they're like, all right, let's throw a story together.
It was about the power of friendship.
So I just want to say too, even though this was my pick, you know, we had this spreadsheet where we rated each episode 1 to 5 stars, and I averaged all the episodes I watched for this, and I got 3.7, so it's falling at number 5 on my list right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty surprising. And I bet you're, you know, really anxious to hear what my top 2 are. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We will. But yeah, no, it was I just kind of wish it had more to it. But
I agree.
I'll break down, you know, my number 1 seed top pick of the winter season, which was Frieren, A Journey's Beyond End, a totally unique and original fantasy magic story adventure that breathes a breath of new life into the genre in this world of nonsensical ending isekai stories. I thought it was almost an isekai story when we started it. But then, you know, it starts off seeing this group who just defeated the Demon Lord, and they're heading back and being, you know, having the great party and everything about them, the heroes and their great journey that they went on, and then pretty much them going their separate ways. And our main character, Frieren, who is an elf. You know, they don't really stick to being in groups and people, and she just goes on her merry way over the next, I think it is 50 or 60 years, after their journey together with her companions. And, you know, it comes back to the 80th anniversary of them defeating the Demon Lord, and she just meets it back up with her friends again, and they have like they've all aged because they're humans. One dwarf who's aged not as much, but definitely is getting older. And it's just it starts off as a really beautiful story of this like friendship that spanned and her relationship to them. And you kind of start to see, like, even though she thinks that she doesn't need to see humans, the little subtle impact that they had on her overall personality. And then the really cool way that she pretty much strikes up a new group and is pretty much the mentor of it. And there's just so many good things and good storytelling and character development and beautiful designing and animation that just, you know, it makes it a no-brainer that I don't see how anyone could hate it or not stop watching. I watched all of it in 2 days when I started. I just got sucked.
2 days?
So sucked in. I watched.
Did you sleep?
No, probably not. But I just watched it completely through. It's got a 9.37 rating. It's number 1 ranked on top anime series. It is the top anime series on my anime list right now. It's wow. It surpassed Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which had been the long time number 1 anime for years. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's by Studio Madhouse, who animated it, who
One
have done
Punch Man.
They did One Punch Man, they did Death Note, they've done Hunter x Hunter, they've done all these great series, High School of the Dead, so many great studios, the original Trigun. So I mean, they've done it all, and all the hard work shows off beautifully in this series. And that's really all I can say. Is just my explanations don't do it justice, but I think it's pretty clear who wins here.
Yeah, my cat just ripped my shirt.
I know my pick. I will say this: I did enjoy both of these anime, and I think it's very unique of a swap for you to do. Thank goodness you did it.
No.
So it definitely makes this season a little bit harder to vote on for it.
I know my pick as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, what is it, guys?
Frieren.
Moving on.
Frieren.
I'll go Frieren for me because it's amazing. You know, I'm not saying that Bucchigiri isn't a good anime to watch. I think it's entertaining, but just Frieren is just on a different level.
Yeah.
Completely different level.
I mean, the story is really what makes it better for me.
Yeah.
Because I did enjoy Bucchigiri. It just lacked in that department. So, yeah. Frieren has to take the cake there. What is this? Dangers in my heart?
Yeah.
John versus Chris pick.
Yes, but one last thing I'll say on Bucchigiri. I think what would have made it a way more interesting story is if because there was like three or four different factions. Had they all had their own genie and it was each of them battling it out for like becoming Honky, I feel like that would have been more interesting.
Did they not allude to that at the end of the last episode though, when like the genie comes back and
pardon me?
I feel like maybe other areas of the world have different genies, because like there's also a huge plot hole going further. Is like, who were the people who shot them to and made them to be genies? You know, like it's gonna maybe the next seasons will lead into it.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like it needed more. Well, no, because they achieved what they wanted to do, their last desire that was holding them and making them genies. But yeah, it just needed more of like
he did come back at the end though.
Yeah, it just needed more to it, focus on. But that's all I want to say. Otherwise, like had a stronger standing of the story, I think the fighting and everything would have been more interesting to watch. Mm-hmm. But yeah, well, we're up at it again, Chris. 1-0 of our picks.
Okay. So you want to explain yours this first?
Yeah. So the second one I swapped out. That again, I picked these two because I was like, how did we not watch these? Because they were continuing into the winter season. But Dangers in My Heart, and boy, did this was a slice of life romance. Chris's eyes just rolled back in his head. He wants. I know what he wants to say. Oh, romance, guys, come on! Like he doesn't have.
That's not what I want
a bone
to say.
in his body.
That's not true because I literally loved watching A Sign of Affection and Cherry Magic. So
yeah. Oh, are you saying you didn't love The Dangers in My Heart? The number one.
We'll get to that.
Winter, but
that's what we're gonna be getting to it right here.
Yeah,
it's tough.
But
he needs to explain it first.
All right, let me pull it up because I don't want to ruin this description of it. Dangers in My Heart.
You gotta have these preloaded, buddy. Come on.
You want to produce this? You produce this. But yeah, so pretty much our story follows our main protagonist, Ichikawa, who's one of those in the first season, shy and timid guys.
Wait, I thought it was Ichihara.
No, it's Ichikawa.
Yeah.
Ichikawa. Ichikawa.
Okay.
He's really looking it up right now. That's what he's doing. He doesn't trust you. Look at him. He's looking it up, and he has nothing to respond to.
I'm not.
You don't trust John? Wow, toxic. Keep going, John.
Ichikawa, he's a shy kind of loner in school. he's not really amazing at like anything. He's just kind of a slightly below average guy, and he's also kind of suffering from like middle school syndrome. At the beginning, he's like one of those people who thinks like, oh, I'm going to destroy the world, and he's like become obsessed with this like serial murder history book that he found, and he's like constantly having in a kind of funny way of like, ah, yes, I'm gonna slit their throat and everything. And that when he like somebody starts like talking, he's having all these imaginary events in his head, and then the second he tries to talk to him, he's like and can't speak. But pretty much he hates all like the popular people until in the library in school he runs into what's her name,
Yamada Anna.
Yes, again, Yamada. And she is the most popular, most beautiful girl in school, and was a model and acting and all these things, and pretty much uses the library to snack on and eat all these snacks. And he's like, that's what he notices about her. She's just devouring a giant bag of chips, and he's like, why would you do this? It's a family size one, and she's just chowing down, and he's like saying like, you can't eat in here. Those are against the rules and all these things. But it just it slowly evolves around them and him kind of going out of his comfort zone and like growing and becoming like it just a really good story of like kids in high school, or I think it's middle school still technically.
No, middle school, because they were in junior high, and now
they talk about his leaving the friends he had before. So yeah, they're freshmen,
sophomores, so year twos. Did you even watch the show?
Sorry, I didn't get caught up on the super minute things and was just really taken
John
back
watched it like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
Chris just watched it last night.
But yeah, so it's just a really great slice of life romance, just showing like that like awkward stage that like they bring up all the time in movies and things of like the loner and the popular girl, but then it goes so much deeper, especially in season 2, about like they have more than just like what everybody.
Spoilers.
We're not talking about season 2, buddy.
Well, it's where season 1 ends, and you all watched it, so of pretty much they're more, because the whole time he's thinking like, she can never be friends with me. She's just probably like doing this as a joke, and keeps doubting himself this whole time, and like pretty much is like at the very end you see like, no, she's like concerned about him. She cares about this friendship that they have, and like it's really great. And you see him deal with his own struggles and like accepting himself and like who he is, and that he's not just a worthless kind of person. And it was just a great story.
Yeah, it had very good emotional like touch points.
Before we jump into animation. That one, let me talk about The Witch and the Beast real quick. Just explain that, and then we could go back.
Okay.
So The Witch and the Beast. This is an action about. Basically, I forgot what they're called, but they're the police for the supernatural. Essentially, they take care of it. They get rid of witches.
You gotta have this information up, Chris.
Okay, if you want, do you have it up? Because I don't.
No, I'm just saying. What are they called? Where's the information? Were you not prepared?
No.
What about those notes that you showed us on your phone beforehand?
No, those are my math, averaging my ratings and stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But there's this team of 2. I think he's a mage. A mage, and the girl, Guido, is some kind of powerful beast.
The Order of Magical Renaissance.
Yeah, that's the police.
Well, they're a secret organization on the side.
An organization
there's
that deals
the mages.
with everything connected to the magical world.
Yes. So these 2 characters, our main characters, are from this order, and their main goal is to find a witch that I think transferred Guido into a different body, and Guido has this curse that only the witch who casted it can remove. So they're essentially going through different missions or adventures trying to find this witch.
Real quick, Chris. The a good thing to point out too is the curse that the witch put on Godot was a body transfer. So her body, or their body, what they have right now, the blonde woman, that's actually the witch's body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a shocking reveal when they mentioned it. But
more shocking of a reveal though was this was the same studio that did what was it?
Kingdom of Ruin.
Yes, Kingdom of Ruin from our previous showdown. That they did a way better job with this one than they did Kingdom of...
Oh my gosh, Cat.
Cat has some strong thoughts. Yo, I'm about to tell you what the greatest anime of the season was.
Like, there's no space on that shelf, and Cat still jumps up there and just knocks
She had her eyes set on it from the floor on the other side of the room, and she jumped on my bed, then leaped onto that. It was crazy.
Wow.
We got to throw a blooper reel like at the end. Just all the cat times jumping up. That's too funny. Oh. But yeah.
But yeah, better job than Kingdom of Ruin. What they did on this.
Like
Please continue. I'm going to take care of my cat real quick.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, the one thing, both these anime, I really did enjoy. They're completely night and day from each other. We got like a coming to age story of school, love, finding friendship, and kind of getting out of your comfort zone and finding who you are, to a very action-oriented, bloodthirsty fighting anime. Lots of magic, good visuals, deep story, and also just watching kind of the last episode was actually a really good cliffhanger that I really did enjoy. How they were going to a vampire world at the end. They had to figure out through the secret tunnels that they could go to different worlds or dimensions or whatever it is. And I just thought I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. I was like, I haven't seen a good cliffhanger like that in a while.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I really liked this one. It was a cool story. I like the whole idea of like a witch's curse can be temporarily broken by other witches, but can only be permanently broken by the original caster. Yeah. And it was there was a lot of like kind of how they like focused on a bunch of like mini stories until you get halfway through, and then the main story kind of takes focus of like all these other witches that they're hunting down, and she's just jumping into every situation like, you're the witch, and it's like, calm down.
Very accusatory.
Yes.
I did like some of the OP moments though.
Yeah.
To touch base, like what my favorite episodes were from this was towards the end with the young witch who couldn't speak because she had a curse.
Yeah, and the initial story of when they met was great.
Yeah, and then they like killed her brother, and then the second that they kissed, her curse was removed for that second, and it just when the moment that happened, I was like, you're all dead. I was like, oh my god. I was like, she's so strong. I was like, this is nuts. She just has to speak it. She doesn't even have to. That's her casting.
She had the greatest magic in like history, which was speech magic, and then
she brought her brother
locked by a curse of another witch.
Yeah,
which was crazy.
Then it was broken though at that point, right? Permanently.
I don't think permanently. I think it was temporary.
I thought she was talking at the end when they were sitting on the side with her brother after she revived him. I'll look it up afterwards.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know that it was broken
because
since the body she's in is technically a witch's body, she broke the curse of her temporarily, and she broke the curse for her temporarily.
Yeah, it goes back.
Yeah, but I think I can't remember if it permanently broke it or because she had enough time that she brought back her brother from the dead, which was cool. It just like shows the magnitude of how powerful it actually was.
I just thought that was a wild moment. I was like, wow, that was really cool.
No.
Yep, I agree. I think it's a really cool series. Dark fantasy kind of style. You don't really get those a lot. And I've been listening to a lot of goth and emo music, and it fits the vibe recently. So the story's cool. I thought that was really engaging. It was a little slow some episodes because, like John, like you said, kind of like filler episodes. So they're not really following the main story, but it's still enjoyable to watch. You get to know the characters a little bit more. You get introduced to some other characters. But the story overall was pretty good. Animation was decent, I'd say. Some episodes had really good animation. Others, average. Definitely not taking the cake. This one falls on my rating with a 3.8, just above Bucchigiri at number 4.
Wow.
Yes.
So then I think we all know our picks then, huh?
Not necessarily.
Yeah?
I got mine.
Yeah?
So
oh, wait. Didn't you say you had something to say about Dangers in My Heart?
Yeah. So, listen. The first episode, Dangers in My Heart, right? We're introduced to our character, Ichikawa, and he's immediately talking about murdering people. And I'm like, this is really weird. This guy has a problem. And I was immediately turned off by it, but I wanted to give it a chance, so I kept watching. In the same first episode too, it's like there was a scene where I guess it was in his imagination, but like he did something to his classmate and like killed him, and I thought there was going to be more of that in the show.
Yeah,
but as I kept watching, this murderous intent in him was just dropped at a certain point. Like, it was never revisited after like episode 4 or 5, and I think that was really dumb. Because why would they build this character up to be this kind of person, and then he starts loving the person he wanted to kill the most, and now is not this murderous person? So I just found that very strange.
Well, that's kind of the main focus of like the type of story that they're trying. I get what you're saying. I think it would be more interesting if it like kept it going a little bit longer. That trope,
I think so too.
It's look, when we get into like this weird violence thing, like this, that's when I like Chris texted me last night about it, and I was like, I was like, the first episode's a little for me, but it reminds me of like times when I watch certain animes. I'm like, why do they have to do this? Like, it's just, for me, it's in like bad taste. Like, that for me is kind of like bad taste. Like, could they have told this story a little bit differently and still got that point across? Yes. It reminds me of when we watched Under Ninja, and I was like immediately turned off on episode like 11 or whatever, when they just had ninjas killing kids in school. Like, and I'm just like, no, this is like a school shooting, like, but it's in an anime. Like, what? This is not okay.
Objectively, the show has its merits, and I can appreciate certain aspects of it. But subjectively, there are just things that I didn't agree with, and I don't have to be a fan to enjoy watching it.
No,
I did enjoy watching every single episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I think the main idea of it, and kind of probably why they switched away from it so quickly, is because it's pretty much they're showing kind of where he is. Like, that's probably the mindset of like
dark
somebody
place.
in that place, like.
And he finds himself.
You see later, like the only friends he had, he lost touch with from his previous school. He hasn't talked to anybody there, and he's kind of has this whole inner monologue of like being himself. And you even see later, like with his family and everything, as he like brings people to his house and like slowly starts talking to more people of like, oh, like I kind of get that. Like he's had this whole thing of like, I hate the world and everything, and like I wish everyone was dead, which every kid in high school at one point has kind of said. I'm not saying like to that degree of this. You've never had that day where you're just like, fuck everyone, wish they were all were dead.
I don't want to say that. I will say I've never once thought in my junior high years of fantasizing about killing someone in the nurse's office and thinking about how pretty they would look dead. Like, that was just so off-putting to me. Yeah, and it's like even more off-putting that, yes, I understand the character development and seeing where he is and how he develops, but at the end of the day, this is still someone who had vicious, murderous intent on multiple people, and that's just forgotten. That's what I don't like the most. Because we shouldn't be liking this character. I felt like I was watching a little Jeffrey Dahmer, like in the making. But
if you watch, but you listen and watch a lot of like real horror stuff.
Yeah,
and like,
that's like
hold on. But
stories.
those are people who have those thoughts in their heads and just wrote them down and made a story.
But those are about monsters, not humans.
No. I mean, look at even like, yeah. I'm just saying.
Like
What's
I
the
love
biggest
Junji
monster than a
Ito.
human?
Like I get it, but it's just in this setting, it didn't match up for me. And if they were going to have this character like that, I feel like they should have kept certain aspects of that personality throughout the whole thing, because then it would make him, I guess, a little bit more of an interesting character. Because at the end, we just end up with still a shy, introverted junior high school student.
Yeah.
And he could have been more.
Yeah, I agree. They could have told it in a different way, and they could have got the point across.
Yeah.
Still, I would have preferred it. But yeah,
I'll say this is sitting at the bottom of my list with 2.7 as my rating.
wow.
Because listen,
Because there's a love story.
no,
we understand,
that's
Chris.
not. That's what I enjoyed. I really enjoyed, the development of their relationship. But I just, because of my reservations, I can't rate it higher. That's just me being biased and objective. It's a decent show, but I don't want to like it.
All right, I got nothing else to say on these two.
Yeah.
And I have my pick. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with The Witch and the Beast on this one.
and I would go The Dangers in My Heart. I think it has the strongest of the character development of like the couples, I would say, for in a love story.
Well,
I actually do have one more thing to mention on this. For
okay.
The Dangers of My Heart, this is relating to music. I have so many different playlists, and one of them, I just added a song to it like maybe a couple weeks ago, and I really like the sound of it. I didn't know where this song was from until during the end credits of one of the episodes. Like there's a still of Yamada like looking backwards. I was like, oh, that looks really familiar. So I went in my playlist, and the song I liked is from this show. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So I went back.
And then you deleted it from your
No,
playlist.
Yeah, I was about to say. Then he removed it from his playlist.
This is another thing I forgot to mention. The Dangers of My Heart has an incredible soundtrack. Like, really good.
Yeah, it has a great animation, and it's. I mean, we know the studio that did it, and they've done so many great things. The music too, and for My Love Story with Yamada was really great too. The ending credit scenes.
All right, what's your pick, John?
Well, I was gonna say it's a 3-1 here. It's pretty clear.
3?
The community vote, Chris. Do you not care about the community?
You're right. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
He said you're right. I forgot about them.
But yeah, so it's Dangers in My Heart, and I hope you watch season 2 because I think a lot of things just grow more for it, and the overall theme for it is like just showing, because things that like used to bother him don't, and like it just shows how much more he grows as a person and like accepts things and like just understands himself. Like, I don't know why I ever like thought these things, and I think if you take anything away from it, it just shows that like even though you might not understand it, there are people out there who do have those things that I think it takes to like making that one friendship, making that like one connection, and like can change somebody's whole mindset and like show that, maybe what I was thinking wasn't necessarily true. And I feel like that can be said for like so many things, especially that like go on now of like everybody's kind of mindsets on like all these different things in the world. But yeah, that one, great. We're going to move on to the other side and come back to this.
There's a way to adjust it.
Close that. Yeah. Over here.
These are the two community ones, right?
Yes, these are the two community ones. Now, I don't know how to... This is my first time using this site. How to... I feel like if I click on one of these, it's just going to select them.
How did you open it up before?
It by default, it just does it as you click through. So it wants you to kind of go in this order. Like, finish this side, and then do this side.
Try clicking it.
All right. Yeah, see? I did that.
Oh, shoot.
If I click it again, it's just going to go down there. So,
Is that solo leveling against
That is
Cherry
solo
Magic?
leveling.
I think
Yeah,
we
so-
know we would have picked that anyway.
Yeah. So
We could leave it.
yeah.
Let's just talk real quick about, since I mean we can see what we're gonna choose. I just want to talk a little bit about Cherry Magic, just so like just the understanding.
Yeah.
So we have a couple love story animes that we watched this winter season. By far, Cherry Magic is about character Adachi, who had a 30th birthday. And then noticed that when he touches somebody, he's able to read their thoughts. Now, it is said in the anime that the reason why he got this power is because he's a virgin until he was 30. So basically, it's an office
5
romance.
more years, Chris. Then you get your wizard abilities.
Yeah, then Chris can become a wizard. But what ends up happening is it's an office love story with a colleague of his that is probably the highest star salesman. His name is
Most good-looking guy.
Kurosawa.
Kurosawa.
And throughout the series, there's little connections that they have. I'd say it's very adorable. I do say this, though. It seemed very rushed, the story.
Especially towards the ending.
The ending.
Yes.
I mean, the ending, they kind of wanted to do like a synopsis of, hey, this is what's going to happen from here.
It could have been a 2-season type of thing.
It could have.
Yeah. I did
But-
like the humor in it, but I do think the love story wasn't as strong as some of the other contenders that we've watched this winter season. I did still enjoy it. This was the last anime that I did watch. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch base on that because I know Solo Leveling is going to be a whole conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I agree
will
with
say,
you, Sai.
yeah. I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say it was my second favorite romance one that we watched this season.
It was my second as well. I will say that.
It was my second as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. I think the character development was one of like the best things in it. Just because you see like so much of the hardships from both of their sides, like because this is the like romance between them two is like very new and unique to both of them. You see like his past of like when he's dated women and everything. The more popular guy, and it's just kind of like all these expectations people have had for him and everything, and that's not like necessarily who he is and everything. And it just on both sides was really, really nice character growth.
Yeah.
I agree. And the one thing I do appreciate about it, I know it's like a big part of the story, but the fact that Adachi can read Kurosawa's mind whenever he touches him, because on the surface you get the one character, Kurosawa, and then you get this completely other version of him, and it just adds so much more. I just wish it was not rushed, because I really did enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, I think the best example of that is, I think it was episode 8 when he finally kind of like confesses to him, and they're like standing on that bridge.
Mm-hmm. Walking home. Yeah.
And he like hugs him and embraces him after he tells him, and he's like he's hearing what was it, the level-headed what was his name?
Reasonable. It was the reasonable, and then the greedy.
Yeah, greedy and reasonable versions of himself, and the greedy version is like, he's like, we have to let him go. What if somebody sees us right now? Yeah. You're in the middle of a business thing. Yeah, and then the greedy one's like, so you're saying you want to let his warm body go? This is what you've wanted the whole time. And
it's
the reasonable
like
one's
the
like,
angel and devil on your.
Yeah, the reasonable one is like, you're right. We can't let this moment go so soon. And he's like, what? You're supposed to be the reasonable one right now.
Yeah. Those moments were good. They were funny.
Yeah.
And I like the still frames between the kind of the pause points in each episode where they have kind of like just a real good still art. I think it's probably from the manga. But it's just really cool. And then they kind of did like a little circle on it and kind of opened up. I thought that was really nice as well.
Yeah, not the best animation compared to some of the other ones, but it was clean. And the story was just good. There was one, I think, when they're on their first date, that there was a scene where they do a side profile and you see his nose and it's like gigantic.
And
I
was
was
really
like,
pointy.
Yeah, I was like, is this a gag anime all of a sudden now? But yeah, obviously, not strong enough to go up against Solo Leveling.
Yeah,
but
let's talk about Solo Leveling Arise, the hit new mobile game.
No, not sponsored.
Chris,
So
don't
wait,
you mean Solo Leveling Wakey Wakey?
Wait, the best part is this. John, you hate menus showing up in
I
anime.
do.
Like more than anything. And I think this is the only anime that you could watch where you go, I'll still watch it. It's fine. It's fine.
It's
like,
executed perfectly.
There's so much more.
Yeah. I still think menu systems are stupid and too easily accepted in the grand scheme of things of these worlds. Like, yeah, it's just a program system. It just pops up and works. Like, what do you mean it just fucking pops up? Like
Open storage, you just grab a venomous sword.
No.
Or dagger.
But yes, for this, it did work. It wasn't because it wasn't something where he necessarily had full control of it.
Yeah.
The grander system that gave him this extra chance at life and like special abilities, and to have a secret second awakening pretty much popped up at certain different times and like didn't make him be the one like leading it.
It was just the setup is what worked. So yeah, I mean, Solo Leveling, if you don't know, it's a webtoon. It was really popular, translated really well into the anime, in my opinion. After this first season, I did start reading it because I just wanted to see what happens. But it's very, I don't want to say seamlessly integrated, or adapted. But they do a really good job, because if you remember when Tower of God came out, this is one of my favorite webtoons, and oh my gosh, the anime does not do it justice at all.
No.
Like, that was very upsetting. But Solo Leveling knocked it out of the park, in my opinion.
I want to touch base on this because this is a constant conversation that we have between Chris and I, and John's kind of the mediator. When we talk about, subbed, spoken Japanese, and English dub. Now, I have watched it in English dub all the way through, and kind of our main character's transition from even physical, but also to even how the voice changes to it. Beautifully done voices for a lot of these characters you'll recognize in the English dub. But also, I watched a lot of scenes in the Japanese spoken, and I just gotta say, it was like chills at certain points of like how well executed some of these lines were, and I was just like, wow. I was like, this is
Arise.
Just in shock, smiling at how great it was. I was like, wow, this is Arise. That's the other one.
Yeah.
Tato Ban and Alex Lee, they knocked it out of the park for the voice acting for the Japanese and English.
Alex Lee is the dub.
Yeah, the English dub.
Yeah, he's really great. I don't know if anyone's seen his
voice.
TikToks. He did a little bit of trolling.
Wakey, wakey.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll change it. Arise. Yeah.
It was really, really good. And I'll tell you right now, this is at the top of my list, number 1 with 4.1 stars. Yeah.
You never said how many out of... is it out of 5, out of 10, out of 50?
Out of 5, yes. Because we rated each... I said at the beginning, we rated each episode 1 star to 5 stars. So I thought that was assumed it's out of 5.
Yeah. That's good. I know, I just brought it up again since I was about to read my Anime score, gave it an 8.32. And it was actually for the winter list, the third one up in the season. So Dangers in My Heart, season 2 was number 1. The Kingdom's 5th season was number 2, never watched it. And then it was Solo Leveling.
Did I mention that Frieren is sitting at number 2 for me when we talked about it?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm throwing that out there now.
Okay. So Solo Leveling, then Frieren for you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. But no, yeah, it was really good. I think they did a great job on the animation, which, like you said, Sai, we've brought up constantly. Like, it's very hard to do. Like you said, Chris, with Tower of God 2, which was also a highly anticipated one for me also, and I think a lot of people that they kind of missed the mark on what to do for it.
Well, I think
they did.
There's just so much in Tower of God that like they can't have it all in the anime. They did a really good job with adapting the art style in the anime, which I did appreciate.
I think that also kind of makes it hard too, is because webtoons are all color and everything. I mean, a lot of the imagination or like guesswork that goes into when you're planning the like animation for it, that they kind of get to fill in the blanks of like, all right, this is the color style for these characters or anything that like maybe were like a artist piece and like an extra page for it that they thought up like in the moment. And then now you get to see like the full thing and how they move, how they talk, how they sound. But like I feel like webtoons, they kind of give you so much of that already that it's just kind of harder to swallow when you see it in the animation style.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, we're going to change these couple of things. Like, oh, well, what I've already grown accustomed to and really liked is now like...
Well, think about it. It's a studio taking over somebody's already done artwork, you know? Yeah. So it's that's the tough part there. But yeah.
Yeah. But, you know... We've got in this, not to jump ahead, but in the spring, there's a couple other webtoons are
viral
speeding
hit.
up. Yeah, viral hit. Another big webtoon one, and I think it's like a weird CGI hybrid, but it looks interesting.
Heard really good things about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I read through most of it. I think I have a couple chapters left of it, but it's great. I really like that one. But yeah. Soul Leveling, you know, takes the spot and brings us to our last little showdown.
Last two. My two
for the
picks.
First round.
We're going to have Sign of Affection versus Delicious in Dungeon. And to kind of start it off, so this is, let's talk about Sign of Affection first. It's a love story between our main character, Yuki, who is deaf and hearing impaired. She... basically just goes throughout, you know, the world in her own way, in her own world it's kind of brought into. But she ends up falling in love with another student named Itsuomi. I think that's how it's pronounced. And he is a type of person who wants to learn how to communicate with all sorts of people. You know, he speaks different languages. He's lived in Germany. He travels all the time. And it's kind of they're building a connection through how to communicate to each other, and he falls in love with her and vice versa. She falls in love with him, but more or less he wants to learn how to communicate with her and understand, you know, how she, you know, thinks and how does she communicate. And I think it's a very adorable and well done anime. The one thing I will say, though, is that John brought it up immediately the moment that we started watching it. He's like, watch, there's going to be some old best friend that's going to come into the play, and then they're going to, you know, be like, oh, well, this is the person you should be in love with. And then what ended up happening, John?
Even lower expectations than that, Sai. What this series did was the Starbucks equivalent of being a basic bitch. This was the bottom tier romance story for me. The most bland, vanilla, milk, no seasoning type of story you could provide. What could have been a more exciting, interesting story to me, with characters that had way more of a personality, with the childhood friend, and creating some sort of love triangle, or even like attempting it boiled down to, I'm just never going to say anything, and then has a 10-minute conversation about why he loves her, but, you know, I'm not going to do anything, and just really pissed me off. And I hate Ichikawa. I think he's the most...
name.
Well, what was it? I didn't pay that much attention to it because I hated it.
Itsuomi?
Well, where am I getting Ichikawa then?
That's Ichikawa's
from Dangers in My Heart.
Dangers in My Heart.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah,
Itsuomi.
He was just so bland, and
he talked like this.
I didn't think. Yeah, I don't know if maybe it was the voice acting for it or whatever. I just found his like personality, and I just felt like they weren't very good match, especially too, it was like the first person she's ever loved, and it didn't even feel like one of those like it's it's like first time love or anything that it just felt like they're very boring. I don't think this is gonna work. I don't care about where this is going. And I even went so much ahead and hate read the manga. And it's like, and nothing else happens. It's not like this goes anywhere or anything else more interesting happens. No, it just ends with them going on a trip with each other. And it's just like
one hit. That's it.
That's boring. That is,
I think,
boring.
I think they could have did a little bit more. I mean, again, it was translated from the manga, but I would have loved to see, like, I like the plot. You know, I think to have a love story like this with somebody who's hearing impaired, would be very interesting. I think they tried,
it is, and it's been done.
Yeah, and I think they did well with some of the scenes, with at least with the visuals, but lackluster of the three love stories that we've watched this winter
season.
It's actually
the top for me out of these love stories. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great vibe. The music was nice and warm-hearted.
He's trolling.
No, I'm dead serious. The art was really cool. I like the style of it. I did enjoy all the characters, and I like how they set up the love triangle between Yuki, Itsuomi, and what's his name? Oishi? Her childhood friend.
Oishi.
But it never happened because he never told her anything.
But that comes later. Okay.
No, it doesn't.
It never does.
And not in the anime.
Not in the manga either.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I read it. I literally read it. It doesn't happen.
I watched the movie, okay?
The movie?
I'm just kidding. I thought I read somewhere that...
No,
see, that's what happens when he doesn't watch it. And he has to read the reviews.
I read it, and then literally I'm like, did I miss?
I know. I'm messing with you.
Did I miss something? And I'm like scouring. I'm like searching on all these forums. I'm like, does he ever say, like, does this ever happen? And it's like, no. He literally just lets it happen, and they end up together, and then he never does anything.
That's it.
Well, I liked the chemistry with all the characters throughout the whole anime. Even if nothing happens...
I think the other characters had more chemistry than them and would have liked to just see a focus of story.
I really enjoyed Yuki.
Like with the hairdresser.
Oh, I liked him a lot, that hairdresser.
Yeah, I would have loved to see their story and had all of that.
Yeah. Or her best friend and the other guy got together.
And have Itsuomi be the side background story. Like, give me more of that. I couldn't stand their...
A sign of affection, you know, while it may be vanilla to you, I'm someone who does not partake in romances that often, so to me this was really cool. It sits at number 6.
Superpowers come in.
Number 6 on my list at a 3.5.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I can move on to Delicious in Dungeon, my second pick that I chose. So it is about a group of adventurers in what is like a D&D type world. They are going on a raid, and they're fighting a dragon. At the moment in the battle, they're about to lose. One of the party members is a very strong mage, and right before she's about to get crushed by the dragon's mouth and jaws, she teleports the entire party back to the starting zone. And at that point, they want to regroup and go save her from the dragon. Some of the party members leave, and it just leaves 3 of the main party to go back in. Along their travels, they know that they were really weak fighting these monsters in these dungeons because how much food they have to pack, and they just wish they could, somehow have food down in the dungeons. And they meet a dwarf who actually cooks all the monster food down there and kind of maintains everything for the dungeon. And he kind of joins the party, shows and tries new, monster things, and it has really good connections between character building. And I'm always a sucker for, food in anime or food in real life, honestly. But I think it's a great story about them going back through the dungeon, learning about cooking monsters, kind of developing as characters to go save their party member, which is I forget his name's sister. But yeah, that's on Netflix. Actually, Netflix has been doing some
Laios. They're
Laios.
Laios' sister. But yeah, Yeah, that was I really liked it. It's still going on. I think episode 19 dropped, 19 or 20.
I stopped at, what was it, 13 or whatever for now.
But yeah, it's really good. It's been my workout show I put on the Peloton. I started it, and I'll just work out for the whole episode. But yeah, I really like it. The English voice cast is pretty stacked.
It's good.
The one who's playing Marcel is Emily Rudd, who also stars in the One Piece live action. Senshi, the dwarf, the English dub is voiced by Sunwon Cho, which you guys probably know who that is.
No.
He's been in a ton of things. He was also voiced one of the government people in Solo Leveling. He's been a myriad of things. He's that guy who does all those like character voice actings. If you search him up, I don't want to change what I'm presenting on here, but search up his name, you'll see
what else he's been in.
He's like a what's that guy's name? Jeff Bloom, Steve Bloom.
Yeah. His voice is very recognizable. He's been in everything. I didn't realize that was his voice in it. And Laios is actually voiced by
James Franco.
What's his name? No, Damon Haas, which is the one of the main cast members from Smosh, who's also been
Smosh.
Yeah,
the
one
YouTube.
of the the YouTube. He's the guy with purple hair. I think it's gray hair right now.
Chris is mind blown right now.
Yes,
Anthony Padilla. And
no, I just said Damon Haas, but he's the Smosh cast member.
Like when they sold Smosh.
No, he joined. When they got sold to that company, and they pretty much said like you need to hire like subcast like people, and he's one of the like permanent. I don't know the whole thing. I'm not a huge Smosh.
I watched Smosh back in the day. I didn't know they ever sold it. And all these new people on Smosh, I have no idea. So,
yeah, but he's on that. He was also on the Disney Channel show. What was I forget? He was on Disney Channel with something. It's funny because a lot of the Smosh characters were on the same Disney Channel show together, and then they ended up on that. But yeah, he was in it. I was surprised because I was like, where have I heard that voice before? And I know on some Smosh videos he does like anime voices all the time. And I'm like, oh, he's voicing it.
That's interesting.
It's like whenever I hear the guy who plays Whis, he's in so many dubbed animes, and I'm like, oh, it's Whis. Dragon Ball Z.
But yeah, so he's in it. So great English cast, but yeah, they it's really good. It's animated really well. It's from Studio Trigger, which you can't go wrong with Studio Trigger.
Studio Trigger did
John's favorite,
right?
They did Edge Runners. They did Kill la Kill. Pretty much that they have that really unique flowy style like that they've got going on.
Yeah, really good animation all around. This is sitting at number 3
really,
for me.
really delicious looking.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's a great party, like the D&D vibes, the party, the different monsters and how they interact and they go through the
intro
dungeon.
music. You know, I always felt myself doing this. Like every time it popped on, I was like, oh, this is good. Yeah, I have my vote now. Again, these are my 2 picks now going against each other. So I was like, oh, great. But I can say my pick first if you guys want.
How about on 3?
I don't think everyone will understand it on 3.
No, I think we will if we do it right after I say 3. 1, 2, 3. Delicious and done. You guys didn't do it.
John and I were on the same page. So yes, I'm gonna pick Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah, it's
it would have been cool if you did it with me.
Yeah,
maybe.
Would have been cool if I said signs of affection,
you
guys.
I know you wouldn't because you literally just talked so much trash about it.
Yeah. But yes.
All right.
There we go. Delicious in Dungeon.
The semi-finals.
There we go.
Top 4.
So that's what it is. Use matchup mode. That's the button that would have.
You silly,
next time.
Silly goose.
All right. So now we've got The
talked about 'em.
semifinals.
I will say this. I will just preface this. I enjoyed these top 4 right here.
Yep.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Season, very good. This is going to be hard choices here.
These are all S tier series in my eyes.
This one's
very good.
This current matchup right now is easy.
Well, yeah, for you.
I think for both of you.
I mean, I enjoyed both of them. I know what I'm
Yes.
going to pick.
I know what
It
I'm
is
picking.
obvious what we're gonna pick. I would say just because it hits a lot more of the overall like tropes and genres that I like. But like if this was solely a romance story bracket breakdown, Dangers in My Heart all day, every day for that.
But it's not.
But yes. It's
Should
Frieren.
we do a bonus episode? Just romance, our top
The
12
year.
romance of the year.
We'll save it for
Chris will head it.
next February we'll do a whole
Valentine's Day
there we go.
special.
season of love, and we'll break
go.
down all the romance we've ever watched. And but yes, obviously it's Frieren.
Yep.
Yep.
That you can't beat that story.
Fantastic, phenomenal.
All right, and then our next one up here.
Why is this showing up? We already did this one.
Oh,
so-
because
yeah.
So let
Just
me
click,
just select
yeah.
that again.
Then it'll
That's what it
skip.
was, and then we already did that.
Legend.
Okay, so
There we
now
go.
here's the second half of
Wait,
the
why is it?
semifinals.
Wait! It didn't do it right.
Oh,
No,
I clicked
it
the
did.
wrong one. No, I clicked the wrong one. Shut
Oh,
up,
come
Chris.
on, buddy.
I was like, "There's no way."
There we go.
All right, Chris, do you want to say it again at the same time?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I can't. I don't think we can because I don't
Oh?
think we're all gonna pick the same one on this one.
Oh,
Really?
Oh, okay. I can go first. I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna say again. I enjoyed both of them very much, and will
You
continue
need to buy
watch
like
both of them.
whiteboards and like flip them around at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah, John, you can expense that for us. It's all good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, put it on the
Put it-
business
I-
card.
I will
Yeah,
choose
AKA
for
my
my
bank account.
pick. My pick would be solo leveling.
Surprised.
No.
I could have sworn you would have picked Delicious in Dungeon because if I'm not mistaken, you rated that 5 all around for every episode.
Like both of them.
Yeah, I guess I'll go up next. Honestly, I did like Delicious in Dungeon just a smidge more.
Interesting.
Soul Leveling is great, but I think way more story and more interesting things happens overall in the course span of Delicious in Dungeon, especially too since Soul Leveling wasted a whole recap episode, which went down as the worst anime episode in history. Like totally uncalled for.
Episode 6 or whatever.
It was like 7.5 or 6.5.
Yeah, I skipped that episode.
Yeah, but it was like so unneeded. Think of all the money that they could have used that whole episode on to just
I think
like,
they used
boost
it
another
to
scene.
like save money
yeah.
because they did just reuse.
They needed, they
shots.
needed to just maybe they just needed to make enough episodes for the season.
But,
That's what I'm
but
thinking.
it still pops up as another episode.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So like if you deleted that, that's more money. Somebody still had to cut all that. I get what you're saying. They used footage from other stuff, but somebody still had to be paid to put all that together.
Sure. I think
No.
like
It's up to Chris
this
now.
is what I do think what happened there.
Mm.
They were given I don't know how many episodes, 13 or 12 episodes for this solo leveling.
12.
They were given you need to make 12 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And they could not make a 12th episode, so they added the
one filler.
recap one. Yeah. To meet their mark. That's what I think is what happened because, like you said, it's an unneeded recap because if you're like me, you binged it and did not need a recap because you already just watched everything. But if you're not like me and watch it like a normal person, maybe a recap is helpful, but unnecessary.
They still did 12 episodes though.
Yeah, sure. Oh wait,
No,
it was
they
a
did.
0.5 episode?
That's what I said. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
what I'm
missed that. I
saying.
missed
They
that.
still did. They still did 12.
What's the point?
That's what I'm saying. They still paid somebody to cut together the 0.5 episode.
It's
the only thing I can think is that they were like, well, we want to stretch it to end on this date, but we don't want to break it. There just being a dead week of nothing.
I see.
And so they were like, let's do this. But again, it didn't help.
Yeah, it's a moot point. We will never know why they did it. But my pick is, Soul Leveling's great and all. Really, me, I love the action. Has super cool action scenes, especially that last fight with Igris. Oh my gosh. But Delicious in Dungeon had a really fun storyline. Those characters are super likable. So I have to go with Solo Leveling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no way. There's no way possible.
You were trolling us there for a minute.
Yeah. He's like scratching it off his notes.
Yeah.
Trolling the answer for this.
Yeah. I mean,
what's the community say? What's the community?
I said at the beginning it was the third most picked one in there. So yeah, the community picked Solo Leveling 2. No surprise. I mean, it was the number one pick when we started this season.
Right.
But yeah, Delicious in Dungeon, surprisingly though, is I think halfway down the list. No, sorry, it's number 5. It's the fifth one. Yeah. If you take out and just put new shows, it's number 3, technically.
That's where it is on my list.
No. It was beat out by Signs of Affection. Ugh. But
wild.
Yeah, there we go. The Solo Leveling.
There we go.
Now this is a showdown right here.
I feel like for me it's not. It's really not.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to give the community, suspense. I'm trying to build suspense.
Sorry. Here, let me mute. Let me mute.
Oh, 2 fantasies at the height of fandom.
Chris is about to walk off.
Let me go first, please.
Yeah,
I don't want to go first anymore.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't really say anything else that hasn't been said about these two.
I think we give our answers and then we kind of just talk from there.
Yeah. It's Frieren for me,
Frieren for me.
There's no.
So, I mentioned this earlier. I did average all my ratings. Solo Leveling is sitting at 4.1, number 1 on my list right now. Frieren is sitting at 3.9, number 2. But thinking about it more, while I did rate Solo Leveling higher, there were some episodes in Frieren that I thought were slow and wasn't as engaging as the other episodes. But overall, John mentioned it earlier, it's an original story. Like, we haven't really seen something like this before. Maybe, I don't know.
If not in a very long time.
Right. It's like not super tropey. Solo Leveling has that menu screen that a lot of isekais have. Even though it's not an isekai, it's there. It's been done so many times. Despite it being really good and action-packed, great animation.
Does he die and come back to a familiar world, though?
We're not getting into this.
John, I don't know, John. John, what do you think?
I was going to mention that before, I don't think but I don't think it is.
It's its own thing. It's the first, though. It's not an isekai. It is a very heavy trope in the webtoon world of portals open up in our world, and that has been beat to death by everyone in the webtoon world. That's like the number one genre of, I became a hunter and after the gates opened on blah 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 date and I was super low leveled and now I'm super high. That's like all over webtoons.
It's in Tower of God, the one portal that he transported into the tower. But
this was like I think this was like the first one or one of the very first ones that came up with that, and it led the initiation of that. And everybody's like, oh, we got to do this now. There's a much better one that's coming out soon, in my opinion, called Omniscient Reader, which I think will blow Solo Leveling out of the water when it drops. But yeah, I think Frieren is just like, I can't remember the last time I watched something as meticulously detailed and just cool. Like
John's
the
hooked.
way the story's told for it, for the type of story that it is, fantasy wise. Like I can't remember any other fantasy that has been as cool as this. Like medieval fantasy style with magic and the world that it builds. Like all the other ones we've even watched, I don't think come close to the way this one's done.
Well, let's let Chris finish his trolling us.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. My pick is Frieren.
All right, perfect. So there we have it. Nobody could have guessed. Nobody could have guessed.
It was
the outcome.
Unplannable, inconceivable. You know,
Oh, I'm sore.
We were bobbing
AI
and
couldn't even
weaving through
fathom
the
it.
whole thing. Yeah, no one. It broke all of our previous, pick knowledge that you've watched before.
All of our expertise.
But even too, the second part of Frieren, if you guys continue watching it, where it ends, it's so cool. It even gets to a point where they have like
spoilers.
Well,
Spoilers.
it's not, because that's where episode 12 goes.
Oh,
Well,
I watched 13.
I only watched up to 10.
Yeah.
So
Well,
don't spoil
We
it.
can
okay,
talk
I'll get-
offline, John, and you and I, if you
That's
want.
cool. Chris, if you can send us Rachel's number, we'd love to share notes with her on her thoughts of this, because I'm sure she's at home watching it. But yeah.
Get the average scores and everything.
Yeah, let's just leave her out of this. Okay.
But yeah, that was it. Frieren is the winner. This was the bracket. I will save that and post it. That was a great, long overdue, but
Good season.
Yeah.
it was
Honestly,
a good season.
Very good season. I'm very
It's a
happy.
good season. But the seasons don't stop. They
We're
keep
already
going.
well into the spring season.
well
We're
in.
watching it in VR only.
We have been. I have been. But I think it's gonna be a good season.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I mean, ones that we've been waiting for a while. If I can find them, I'm looking at the spring. I'm just gonna bring up.
yeah, we're not going to list them
start
all.
date. I'm not gonna list them all, but there are some that we've been
Chris-
talking about for
Chris
a
said
while.
I have to go on the train.
But ones that have been talked about, Windbreaker is supposed to be a really giant fight one. Go Loser Ranger is here. It's on
Finally.
Disney Plus.
That was from our first episode. Episode that we made.
Yep.
Oh, look, he has
yeah,
it.
exactly.
When did you get it?
John got
Was
this
that
for
a-
me. When you guys
Did he?
went to the
Yeah.
Oh.
you know,
We went
Cunha
up for
in New York?
For the
Yeah,
pod,
yeah.
yeah. We went up to that
was a long
Spotify
day.
event. But yeah, Go Loser Ranger. What's it called? The Kaiju number 8 is here. Yeah, like really big ones that have been like hyped up for such a long time.
Yeah, we saw the Kaiju number 8 at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, it's good. I'm rereading the manga for it too.
I think the manga's better.
This past episode, because I've watched all the ones that have dropped so far, definitely has been better than the other ones. It's also sitting in the number 1 spot of new series. It's number 4 in total for the spring, but it's number 1 of like brand new series in there.
Twisty.
The first 3 are all returning shows. But yeah,
What's
gonna be good.
the first one on the list with the returning?
it's called Sound Euphorium, and it's the 3rd season.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a orchestra, high school concert band.
Man,
Aims to
that
win a
sounds
gold
like
medal.
Your Lie in April.
Now, if you were
That's
like
probably
a
why it's so
school
popular.
orchestra that has swords and ninjas, Chris would be like, "Oh man, yeah, I gotta catch up on
No,
that."
though, orchestra and all that
No.
doesn't match. Doesn't match.
Right.
But in the number 2, which is been long overdue, 10-year hiatus, Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World.
They waited too long. It's irrelevant at this point.
Have you watched it?
Never.
When it came back, somebody brought it up.
John,
it was in the top 5 at like place number 4 for the highest watched show of this year so far. So a show that came back 10 years since its last season premieres and beats out like every other show for the last year.
Are we talking 4. Just anime?
Or, yeah, and all the animation stuff. No. They also like brought up numbers too for like it was like Mandalorian and Game of Thrones that had like a bigger watch for this season's anticipation than them.
This is interesting.
So, yeah, it is, and it's also one of the first like isekai series that came out, and it's very good. Maybe we'll
There's a car
it.
that parks on my street that has a sticker decal of the one character with the witch hat.
Oh yeah, Megumi.
Yeah.
The characters are very popular across like Crunchyroll and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point it'd be worth watching the first season. It's all dubbed. It's only like 11 episodes.
Well, maybe one day we could go back to Gamers Heaven and use that theater because I missed that.
I asked Andrew and he said that it's still going to be closed.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I know they just reorganized the whole store from like his streams that he's been doing, but at some point,
What, do you just DM him, Sai?
No, I text him.
Oh, no, because you guys are close like that.
Yeah, we're cool.
Because you know.
Just kidding. I was on his stream and he was talking to everybody, so then I chatted.
Sai was like, Dollar Dono, when is it opening? Dollar Dono, how much longer till it opens? Dollar Dono.
Every stream, I'm just in there asking.
I did see him at Fan Expo with my friend Arlo, because he wanted to go.
Thanks for the invite.
It was just me and him date. Okay.
Sorry, John and I were off. It's fine.
Don't get jealous.
John, do you want to hang out without Chris?
Honestly,
again?
It was the worst convention I've ever been to.
Oh. Did you see what happened? The big thing with what's his name? My Hero main character,
Justin?
Deku.
Oh, Deku.
The voice actor. What happened to him at that convention?
No.
And he tweeted out about it.
No.
It was like all over like Twitter and a bunch of TikTok videos. Pretty much, the fans kept asking him inappropriate ship questions about who do you think Deku would be more in love with, Bakugo or All Might? And then they were like asking him, what about Deku X? And it was like all these like really inappropriate ones, and they were like, Deku and Eren, huh? And he literally had to stop the Q&A and went out and tweeted and was like, I don't care about the ships. I think you can think whatever you want, but I don't think that they have a very much appropriateness for like what it is. Please stop asking. It was like a huge thing.
Who was the panel host? Like usually they have somebody there to like.
Well, it was like the Q&A thing at the end.
Yeah, it's when people line up and start asking their own questions.
But I mean, there's people at the convention that should be,
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. This is like, it was the worst convention I've ever been to. The panels, the main stage was in the same room of like all of the vendors.
Oh,
it was really weird. And then I went down an aisle, like looking through the vendors, and there's a section for a smaller panel stage right in the middle of everything. And it was just such a weird setup because they have the like whole wing of the convention center that was just not really used. So why use the same? Like, I just didn't understand. It didn't make sense. But I did see what's his name, Jedi. From Star Wars, of course, the game.
From Jedi, Star Wars.
I'm trying to think. Cal.
How many Jedi?
From the most recent game?
Yeah. Ian Gallagher.
Fallen Order? Oh, yeah. The actor.
Yeah, when I got there, he was doing his panel. I thought that was pretty cool. I did see him.
But yeah, after this, you should definitely search Justin Briner Fan Expo. And
yeah,
I'm sure we'll see a video of it.
The My Hero Academia community was just... I feel like they're the most cringe.
Cringe.
Well, not even that, but the series is just, taking a hard fall off. Yeah. And just not
new seasons
anymore.
Season 7 just coming out, isn't it?
I don't watch the anime, but like it's nearing its end. obviously.
It is, and
but
you've still been reading it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That every chapter annoys me more and more as we keep going.
And I just don't understand like what exactly is happening. Like, I know what's happening, but I don't understand.
Exactly. I don't know what they're building towards. Every big moment is immediately wiped out and reset. And it's like, well, why did we spend 5 chapters doing this?
Yeah.
Come on, just get to the end. It seems like you don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to read this anymore.
It was
just
so
move on
good
already.
in the beginning.
It was.
It's fall from grace.
It was. It's all Hollywood, man. They got in
Making
their
a
grasp.
live action.
I know. And the creator was just like, I'm throwing it in. It's not worth it. The craft has been ruined.
It's a moot point. Another moot point.
No. But
Separate episode conversation.
Exactly. But yeah, this was good. I'll throw together, the watch list for the spring. Yes, we're in spring 2024.
And we're doing 6 episodes, right?
I was thinking of cutting it in half because you guys keep breaking my heart, especially you
guys.
Sai, you watched single episode of every series?
I've watched the entire list.
Okay. You watched a bonus episode for Dangers of My Heart?
I did 12.5.
Okay. I'm the bad guy. Okay.
What? Look back. Who's got the worst track record? It's John. He doesn't watch any of them. He lies. He
watches them well in advance.
Yeah.
Even before the list is made.
Like I said, I'm all caught up with Kaiju number 8.
From somebody, John, who can watch all of Frieren in one sitting is a monster.
Well, I did basically watched The Dangers of My Heart in one sitting.
Yeah, but you kept falling asleep.
No, I didn't.
You were playing, Marvel Snap.
Like I said, I enjoyed watching it. I just have my reservations where I can't be a total fan.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna put that together so everyone can start watching it. I think I'm halfway through most of the. I don't think it's that many episodes this time around of new series. But yeah, I was thinking of cutting it in half. Each of us only getting 1 pick and maybe 2 community picks for a total of 5 episodes. But we could bump it up to 6 and do
series
and do our 3 and the community's 3 to make it even.
I think 6
we can talk offline.
Yeah,
we could talk offline.
We can think about it when we get around to watching all of them. See, but yeah, and then we got Otakon coming up. Still no word yet on press things, but we will be there. But yeah. Any last things? Any last thoughts? Final things you want to get out there?
Leave a comment if you guys watched any of the series that we spoke about today. Any hot takes you have, let us know.
Or call out any of our hot takes. Love to have a conversation about it.
Let us know if we should keep Chris on, if last episode was the best episode.
Yeah, let me know if I should make my own show, right?
The Chris Show. Hey,
Next
guys.
episode. We are in litigation with Chris right now for the rights of...
Jeez, my neighbors keep slamming the door. I'm sure
I thought
you'll
that
hear
was
it.
Cat.
No, they're going in
Cat.
and out, and they always slam the door. If you're watching this, please stop slamming.
On that note.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you,
everybody.
Good to be back.